Hey girl, can we seriously talk?
Girl, come over. You already know it's time for real talk.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Seriously Girl Talk. I'm really excited to see you all, or at least for you guys to listen to us, and I'm happy that you guys are tuning in. We have a great episode for you this time around as we are closing the year of 2025 and opening a new chapter for the year of 2026.
I just have to acknowledge this.
Wait, acknowledge what?
That the distance is not stopping us.
Oh, yes,
We're
of course
still
not.
recording.
I didn't know what I was looking at first, so I do apologize because I'm like, what are you talking about? So, again, you have your two fabulous hosts, Katie,
Destiny.
and let's get into it. 2025 has been a world of emotions for both of us, right? Especially because this is the year that we opened a lot of new things. Not just personal, but overall in like the business world and, in our careers, right? Starting off by, a new chapter for Destiny. She became a school counselor, and so shout out to her. Woo! Which is great. She finished out her school counseling program with Alfred University in August, and then got a full-time job as a school counselor in September. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to Destiny for doing the impossible and making it possible, managing a full-time job, a full-time mom life, and still trying to get her career. So shout outs to you, girly.
Thank you.
I also have to give a big shout out to the both of us because we took on a big I have to emphasize big because, we've been talking a lot about starting a podcast, and not going to lie to you guys, it has been in the works for some time before we actually did officially launch it back in October 11, 2025, where we had our first meetup, open our first Instagram page, open up our first Gmail account. That day was the start of everything. The first time we actually hung out after work and said, hey, let's do this. So, that's another big, accomplishment for us, right? Especially navigating everything that life has thrown at us, work, relationships, friendships, families, and stuff like that. So I'm just really excited that 2025 allowed us to do a lot of great things. And enough of me rambling and talking about, what 2025 did. And let's actually get into it and reflect on, the good stuff, the bad stuff, and what we're looking forward to in the year of 2026.
Well, I also want to say, I feel like this year, well, you shouted me out, like I'm going to shout you out with your program because I think that's also amazing. I feel like you keep me motivated for sure. Like you're very inspiring because I don't feel like you ever feel like you're done, but I say that in a positive way, in the sense of like you're always trying to elevate yourself, so I really want to give you a shout out for taking the leap to go to esthetician school, to be licensed while also, working full time as a school counselor, like, because that life of working full time and then going to school right after, like, that's rough. That's really, really rough. Like, you sacrifice a lot of your personal time, so you doing it, big dog. You doing it.
Thanks. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So, I mean, a general overview reflection for me of 2025, if I'm being honest, it was like, okay, I'm not gonna snapshot it as ghetto, but a word that pops up to me is ghetto. And it was ghetto because I feel that I experienced a lot of tough, rough things that made me, it was a lot of obstacles and I felt challenged in a lot of ways. But within that, it was a beautiful thing because I realized how much I was able to endure, and I did genuinely feel like I grew, and I still, within those rough patches, had accomplishments, which I am very proud of myself for that because I didn't, let everything just go down into shambles. I persevered through the storm, so to speak. So that was actually really valid to see. I was like, wow, I can endure that. That's pretty lit, cause, it's funny cause I was just filming a vlog for myself or for my channel or whatever. And I said how my mentality has always been like Chicken Little. The sky is quite literally falling. If any little inconvenience happens, no, literally, if I'm inconvenienced, I'm like, what the, I'm lost. So seeing that I was able to kind of manage that, and I think that's partially from being a mom too, because in the past I was able to sit and soak into that mentality, whereas now as a mom, I'm like, there's always another option. There's a way out. There needs to be a way out. So that was just pretty cool to see myself go through all that, to be honest. So it's yeah, I accomplished school, but I'm also a single mom. What else was there? Those are the main two things. Oh, and friendships. I feel like I really started taking my friendships really serious. I got to meet you, well, I didn't meet you last year, but I feel like we grew, our friendship grew, and alongside some of my other friendships, which I didn't realize how important that was. So it's funny because we were doing the friendship episode, and it's that is really a reflection of my 2025. I started recognizing I need to pour into other people, so it's been so wonderful to just see them pour into me and vice versa. So that was just pretty lit. So that's why I say it wasn't all ghetto. It was ghetto fabulous.
That's a cute way of putting it.
Yeah. But what about you?
Honestly, I don't even know if I have a word for 2025. I feel maybe hectic, but beautiful at the same time. I feel 2025 was, I don't know. When you sit down and reflect, okay, think of 2025, I am thankful I didn't really have any crazy challenges, that is a blessing. And, everything that I've accomplished with my partner or myself, I think overall, 2025 is probably, maybe the word I would use is successful for me, right? I feel I took a leap of faith into myself, right? Creating this podcast with you, and then also pouring into myself, right? Taking a big leap into what I want to do for my future to be better, right? And that means, isolating from certain people, family and friends and stuff, and just focusing on what do I want. So I think 2025 has been a successful year into pouring myself, right, into my future, into my success, into my career, but in some ways also into my friendship, so honestly, I'm grateful I haven't had any, crazy challenges as I would have in my previous years, every year is a great year and it's only going to get better from here. So
yeah, I love that. Actually, when you were talking, it made me think of what I'm hoping to do going into 2026. You mentioned cutting off, essentially, correct me if I'm wrong if the language isn't right, but what I heard was, choosing to not give certain people your energy. And I feel like I resonate with that, and I resonate with that bringing it into 2026 because I recognize how I can quickly fall into a negative thought process. So I really am this year being intentional and mindful about who I'm keeping around me, because I need to remain in that uplifted, positive, spirit. So what you kind of were doing in 2025, I'm kind of grabbing that, and like, I'm pretty sure you're still going to hold that onto that, because that's a good thing to just do. But I'm definitely like gripping that, and I'm dragging it into 2026.
Yeah, man.
That's so important.
It is very important, and one thing that I've learned over the years, at least just for myself, that I always put everybody first. And it's hard to take a step back and actually, reevaluate certain things and say, hey, like, what do you want to do? Right? Like, what does Katie want to do? What does Destiny want to do? Right? And I think 2026 is just where that's what we're going to continue on doing, is what do we want to do? Right? Before we think about everybody else, what do we want to do? And I think that's a message for everybody, right? Like, what do you want to do? Like, we have to learn how to put ourselves first and stop pouring into people that aren't pouring into us. And I don't mean that like they're being bad individuals, right? When I say like pouring into you, I mean people that are motivating, supporting you, because we're surrounded by a lot of people and they're great, but great in what way? Like referring back to our friendship episode, right? And this is not really tailored to friendship, but like, in general, the people that we surround ourselves with, right? Are they a good individual or a bad individual? Are they here for a good time, or are they here for a long time, right? And a long time person is people that are going to motivate you. We have people that we surround each other for different reasons, right? And we have to surround ourselves with more positive, supportive environment. If I'm going to push you, I expect you to push me too. Just throwing that out there, not that you have to, but I'm just saying like, like my boyfriend constantly is like, you need to do this, you need to do that, and it's like, at first I'm like, yo, you're nagging, like, please just shut up and leave me alone. But as time goes on, I realize like, no, for real, like, I'm trying to be something better, right? So if I don't have anybody in my circle like that, deuces, my friends, so.
No, yeah, facts. And shout out to Biz. He's like the motivational speaker.
Yeah, man, we gotta like run him a check for all his speeches. So he gotta send us an invoice ASAP.
Like, let me pay my dues. He just fed my mind. But, no, facts. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because from a mother perspective, right? Like the whole idea of putting yourself first, that always felt uncomfortable for me to say. And I almost feel like I was acting phony last year, because I actually put up a video, reviewing a book that I read or in that video was multiple different books, but one particular book was, Love Your Kids Without Losing Yourself. I think that's the name of the title. And I was talking about how in that book, she basically mentions like, you need to put yourself first, right? Like you need to put yourself first in various of ways. Like, don't be ashamed to ask for help, recognizing that if you don't put yourself first, then you are not going to have the ability to take care of your children in the way that they need you, right? Or other people, right? Whether you also take care of your parents or if you have a spouse, you can't really show up for your spouse because you're not tending to yourself. So I was like, at the end of the book, essentially, she makes you have a mantra. So I was like, yeah, I'm setting my mantra and da-da-da. And I genuinely feel like I didn't live that in 2025. Whereas this year, I'm like recognizing how important that is. So part of that is also not caring about what other people think about me when I say I'm putting myself first, because it felt very yucky to say I have to put myself first, because it's like when I put myself first and I take care of myself, like my kids get the mother they need, my kids at work get the counselor they need, my friends get the side of me, right? Like, so it's just so important, to just put yourself first. And I really hope that negative connotation to putting yourself first kind of goes away, because it's not being selfish. It's literally taking care. And I think a lot of people think of it as being selfish, and it's like, no, being selfish is like a totally different thing. It's like, we could get into that, but like I won't get into that. But like it's totally different. Because at the end of the day, me personally, I can only speak for myself. When I say I'm putting myself first, it's always with the intention to serve my loved ones, in the way that I can. So yes, I agree with you. Is there anything different in particular that you feel like you're taking in? Because it sounds like you had a lot of good habits in 2025. But like, is there anything new that you're taking on in 2026?
I'm going to be honest. When it comes to habits, I personally don't know. Like, reflecting back, I honestly don't know what good habits that I have. Let me think. Pause.
Yeah. Sorry if I threw you a
I'm like, damn, habits? Like, I don't know. I feel like when thinking about habits, for me personally, I feel like I'm in an interview, like a job interview. Sorry, I got sidetracked. But, when I think about habits, personally for me, I think routine and having a schedule works out best for me. Another thing that I actually really noticed, and this is something that I was actually talking to my boyfriend about a few days ago, right, was the fact that when I'm busy, I'm more motivated to do stuff. Right? In a sense of like, now that I am, working a full-time job and I go to school, right? Like, I have no time, but I find so much time to do stuff that I really want to do. It's like the saying, the busiest person has the most time on their hands. And the reason why is because they schedule everything out so that whatever they want to do, they have time to do it, right? And it's like, for me, like, I am a busy person, like working, going to school, and, still trying to focus on my relationships, still trying to focus on my household, and I don't know, the routine and the schedule has kept me on track to the point where now I started my own YouTube, like now I have motivation to do more stuff, right? So for me personally, I think keeping a schedule and keeping a routine, I'm a very like spontaneous person. So sometimes my schedule might get flipped around, but I still have a schedule, right? So maybe that's a good habit that I have that I will definitely continue on to next year. One thing, actually, fun fact, really quick, sidetrack. I'm planning out my 2026 year, right? Like things that I want to do while still able to do everything else that I have. And I asked ChatGPT, like, this is everything that I want to do. This is my schedule currently. How can I incorporate this stuff? And ChatGPT helped me create a routine and a schedule for me to keep on track. So, that's something that I'm going to keep in 2026.
I like that. I use chat for stupid shit, so I like that. Now I'm gonna write that down. Use chat for useful things. Not like
yeah. Let me tell you, ChatGPT is a great friend, a great resource. I probably text chat like more than I text my friends. I'm always asking like, yo, how can I do this? How can I do that? Like a lot of people go on ChatGPT to do like, random stuff, but like I try to make sure that it's helping me elevate, So, well, we have a computer in our hands, why not take advantage of it?
No, that's a fact, yeah. I'd be like, should I put Vicks on my feet with socks while sick?
What's actually, and I'm going to give this suggestion or advice, right? Like for those people that use ChatGPT, I actually did this a few weeks ago. I put in ChatGPT, like, if you can give me one advice, reflecting on everything, put in this question exactly like this. Reflecting on our previous conversations, what advice would you give me based on the stuff that I typed in? And one thing that ChatGPT told me was like, I need to be more confident when I'm writing. That's one thing, like I always say, I can't write English. You know, I can't speak English. I can't write in English. You know, and ChatGPT was like, girl, you need to have more confidence in yourself. Like, you're doing great. You just, you know, you want it to be perfect, but what you are saying isn't, you know, bad. And see what ChatGPT tells you, right? Like, maybe the advice that you're putting into ChatGPT will let you know, like, how can I elevate in 2026? Because I don't know if this is just me or this is everybody, but we ask ChatGPT all the different questions, right? So like, you're constantly talking to chat. Who knows you more than anyone? Probably ChatGPT. You're probably asking, hey, like, should I wear a red shirt or a black shirt to my interview? You know, so.
I'm crying.
Or how should I respond to this text message, you know, like, and have ChatGPT kind of like analyze you based on your conversations.
So you need to have an account for that though, right?
Yeah, you definitely do need to have an account, because it tracks all your conversations. So, like, for example, right, like, one thing that I've noticed is from the beginning when I first started using it, like, it would just talk to like a robot, and then it started sounding a little bit more like, you know, a person. It had a personality. It'll be like, yes, girl, you got it right on point, stuff like that, you know. So it just keeps track of everything in order for it to analyze you.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I did not know that. When I use it, it's like I just Google ChatGPT like .com, and I never made like an account or nothing. But I like that. I like the advice that it gave you. I think a lot of us can use that advice, quite frankly, because I say things as well that my brother actually told me, because I still say it, and it's a bad habit. Like, I'll say I'm dead, like when I think something's really funny. And he was like, yo, like, stop saying that, like, stop putting that into it's almost like you're calling that into existence. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Or like, if we're like joking, or like, it's like, oh, I can't hang, I'm a brokey today or something. Like, it's like, why are you claiming that you're broke? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like little things like that. You don't realize how powerful the language is that you're using. So I'm definitely taking your chat advice for myself, because it's, you definitely have to speak things, or you can speak things into existence. So you kind of have to be like careful what you say to yourself about yourself and stuff like that. Yeah, I agree with that.
100%, you know, what's the quote? Like, your tongue is a powerful tool or something like that, you know? Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I honestly believe that 100%, you know? Like, when you say something always happens. I don't know if it's just me and I'm superstitious, but I'd be like, yo, like, I think of something and I'm like, boom, it happens. I'm like, damn, why can't I think of, yo, I'm gonna be rich tomorrow, and then boom, money. Like, you know, like, why does everything else happen, but not when it comes to the moolah? So,
well, maybe it is happening. It's just not happening in the way that you want it to, you know, like, you're employed and you have a full-time job, whereas some people are still struggling to even find, especially in the field that we're in. It's so scarce, the positions. So it's like, that's your money bags. It's just not like the money bags you necessarily want. So, but it's like still money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's consistent money. So
yeah, I'd be saying to myself, I'm gonna win the lottery tomorrow, and one day.
Yeah. Maybe it's not for you. That's another thing, like being okay with, if I desire something and it's heavy on my heart and I'm like praying about it and it doesn't come to fruition. It's like, okay, so maybe this thing that I'm asking for isn't necessarily for me, or it's not my time to receive it. Maybe I'm meant to receive it at a later date. Or maybe what I'm envisioning for myself is very small, where God has this bigger vision and has a bigger execution for my thought process or my plan, you know? So it's like so many things that I'm also just, trying to think of things like that, like being super positive, not like toxic positivity, because I'll really step back and be like, you know, that just sucks, but you know, and then like reframe it into something that's not gonna sink me into a deep dark hole. So, you know. So, I think to end, I don't know if you want to share maybe one thing. Do you have like a New Year's resolution, like one thing you want to accomplish at the end of 2026? And we can actually look back at this and be like,
I did it. I did it. I did it. I did it. Yeah, lo hicimos. Did it. Sorry, that just popped up in my head. You know, for me, I want to open up my own business, right? Like, by the end of this year, I'm going to have my own business. I don't know in what, right? Because I am a business mind person. And when I say that, like, I think everything from a business perspective. You know, even like starting this podcast, I was like, yo, Destiny, we need to do a contract. We need to have a business plan. We need to do this, you know, like that's where my mind is at. And I feel like I personally need to tap into it. You know, like I'm a very smart individual, and, you know, by the end of this year, I'm going to have a business. And, you know, get my man his BMW that he's been asking for. So.
damn, we're gonna be riding in the Benz, beep, beep.
No, BMW, not in the Benz, girl.
Oh, shit.
A Beamer.
Oh, shit.
You get in the wrong one.
I clearly don't know about cars.
But yeah, you know.
I'll be there. Beamer, Benz, or Bentley. Beamer, Benz, or Bentley. Pick me up.
All these, you know, who knows? Maybe by the end of the year, we have all three, you know? Who knows? Only the man above knows. So.
Facts.
What about you?
For me, I'm going to say my 2 goals. Don't freaking laugh.
I'm not laughing.
I'm already laughing at myself.
I'm laughing at you. You're the one that started laughing.
Okay, so my one main goal is really for real.
I know this one.
No, it's not. That's not gonna be the first one.
Okay.
My first one. Okay, my first one is to secure a second stream of income. So whatever that looks like, whether that be monetizing on YouTube, whether that be like, I take a leap to like do the mental health extension. I don't know, but I do want to figure out a second stream of income for myself aside from like my main job, you know? So that's a goal that I have for myself. And secondly, to get me a chocolate.
I knew it. I knew it. Yo, when you said, I was like, I already know. You don't even have to say it. I already know. And you guess what, Destiny? We gonna get you that little chocolate man that you want. You know, like white chicks. What was his name?
I don't know.
Oh my God. He played in...
Well, white chicks like you, bro.
Yo, I love white chicks. But, you know, he played in Everybody Hates Chris. Damn, I forgot. And
yeah, oh, the actor you mean? I don't know his name. I forget his name.
Well, anyway, that man loved himself a little white chocolate. No, every single time. You know, I was just watching it the other day, and I was like, yo, this is like Destiny, but like in a men's form.
It is
Like, seriously.
Is this in real life or the movie?
No, like in the movie, White Chicks, he only wanted a white girl.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He wanted his white chocolate, you know?
Yes. I remember his obsession with white women. I would say I get it. However, he was on a 10. I'm like at a 5. Like I'm still patient for my man. Like I'm not gonna take any chocolate, you know. We're very strategic about what chocolate we're taking here.
No, I completely understand. I think having high standards is very important, especially in the time that we're living. So can't be settling down, man.
Yeah, but that's another episode for another day.
So, like overall, we talked a lot about 2025 and, what we want for 2026. What is a word to describe 2026 for you?
It's going to sound super simple, but literally the word is positivity. Like, I feel like that's my word because it's something that I need to constantly remind myself of. It's something that I want to genuinely embody and be. I feel like I can be very positive towards other people. And even people say like, oh, when I'm in a space with them, like they're like, oh, you're so cheerful, like you're always laughing. But then I feel like when it comes to me reflecting on myself, I don't have that same attitude that I have when I'm around people, or like the energy that I give other people, or how I talk up other people, So like positivity specifically for myself, to myself, and being kinder to myself, like that was a rant, but the word is positivity.
Yeah, no, and listen, go on all your rants, at the end of the day, like, you are you. I go on my rants too, even to explain one little thing. So there's no judgment here, girl, and I'm looking forward for you to walk into 2026 being more positive, because as a very caring friend, you are very hard on yourself. And sometimes like you tend to be a little negative. And sometimes we just gotta reframe those thoughts, from a counseling's perspective, right? Instead of saying this, how can we turn it into being positive? And I'm really happy that you're doing that. So
thanks. Yeah, and I am glad that I have people like you, for example, to hold me accountable to that, So that just lets me know that the people that I have around me are good people, because they like literally call me out, and it's not always about hyping you up. It's about checking you.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree with that, and I feel like us, and maybe I'm talking for the both of us, but like at least for me, I feel like everybody that I surround myself with are always checking myself. Even when I ask for advice from some of my friends, they're like, girl, like you might be dragging it a little bit. And that's okay. Sometimes, we can't have friends always telling us we're delulu, like sometimes you gotta call us out on our BS, and that's how we'll grow, And one thing for me, like my biggest word for me is determination, right? Followed by discipline. Like in order for me to be disciplined, I need to be determined. Like what do I need to do? Right? And everything else will follow through. So 2026 is going to be a great year. I could taste it. Okay? Let me tell you.
Like sugar on my tongue.
No, but like seriously, like, I don't know what it is about 2026. I just feel like a lot of great things are coming our way. There are definitely going to be a lot of challenges and a lot of obstacles, but that's going to make us grow. That's going to show us, okay, this is how we want 2026 to be. How are we going to get there, right? Like, what are ways that we need to maneuver around certain stuff, And I think it's going to show us exactly like, do we really want this or do we not? How hard are you willing to work for something, right? So just how we pour ourselves into someone else. 2026 is about pouring into yourself, girl.
Thanks. Very well said, Katie. Very well said.
So, for those that are actually really listening to us in real time, like right now, please pause the video and write something that you're looking forward to 2026 right now. Drop it in the comments, and it might show up in our next video.
So honestly, it was really cool to reflect on 2025. Clearly, a lot of wins, a lot of rough patches, but we encourage you guys to do the same. I think it's always beneficial. Whether it was a tumultuous year for you, whether it was just like this amazing, grandiose year for you, regardless of the fact, sitting down and reflecting, it doesn't have to be anything formal, just setting aside time to literally ponder what happened and what you went through is very, very necessary, I think. So love that, and love that we have this recording too to kind of go back to and remind us, and also drop whatever you guys are thinking in the comments, like share whatever it was that you came about in your reflection. If it's not too personal and you would like to share, I think it would be a fabulous way to kind of just like cheer everyone on and things of that nature. If you want to share resolution or how you're going to obtain certain things, whether that be a mentality switch or something that you're physically going to change, all that stuff is good stuff, like, you know. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching this video. Again, every Sunday, 5 p.m., distance will not stop us, whether we're side by side or like this. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So pull up, bring the tea, bring the coffee, whatever it is, and chat with us. Okay? Have a lovely start to your 2026 year. Bye. Real talk. I'm glad you got that off your chest.
Seriously, until next time.